We believe very strongly that 2014 is going to be a phenomenal year, and we're going to get into that in a matter of minutes. Since this is the January edition, I want to go over some projections for 2014. And I want to go back over what our projections were over the last couple of years. Remember back in 2012 when we talked about it being the year of recovery? We were coming off a really horrible 2011, and many people in the real estate industry were saying, wow, I don't even know if I can handle this anymore. But we talked very strongly back in January 2012 that we thought that 2012 was going to be a comeback year, that year of recovery, and that's exactly what it turned into be. In 2013, at the beginning, we talked about the market was going to stabilize. It was going to get back to our more normal market. Inventory levels, pricing levels were all going to really start balancing out. And by the end of the year, that's exactly what took place. Prices were up. We started to get our inventory in a much better place, though we still have some work to do on that. Now, let's take a look at 2014 and what we look for there. We think that 2014 is going to be a year not of recovery, not of stability, but of growth. We believe that there are some people listening right now that are going to have a phenomenal 2014, maybe the best years of their career. But making projections, making predictions, that's the easy part. Given the reasons why, given the backup information, sometimes is the more difficult thing. So I want everyone here to know why we believe that 2014 is going to be a year of substantial growth in the industry. First off, let's take a look at the economy. What I've included here is a map from our friends over at calculatedriskblog.com, and it's the November State Coincident Index. 3-month change. Is the economy getting better or worse? We're going to talk about in a second where, what the backup information is on that for the people that need it. But right now, I just want you to take a look at the map. What we can see, if you're green, your state is doing better. And we can see that of the 50 states, 46 of them are some shade of green. Obviously, the darker green, the better your state is doing. So outside of Wyoming, Ohio, Alaska, and Alabama, every other state in the country is doing real well, and Alabama's about breaking even. Wyoming and Ohio, just a little off. So what we're seeing is across the country, the economy is starting to come back. As we said at the beginning of last year, the United States economy was not going to come back until the housing market came back. And the housing market came roaring back last year from a really bad place to a really decent place. And that's helped push the economy forward. And we think that's going to continue. The economy is going to continue to move forward in a very positive situation. And what is that going to do? How is that going to impact housing? Well, number one is we think there's going to be a lot of repeat home buyers, a lot of people that currently own a home that are going to sell the home they're in now and move up, move down, move sideways, but they're going to move. As a matter of fact, Trulia called 2014 the year of the repeat home buyer. We have to be prepared for that, ladies and gentlemen. Second thing coming upon us, and I don't really like to talk politically, but there is going to be some talk about immigration reform. And it appears as though we will have some form of immigration reform. Let's talk about what that's going to mean to housing. In a study done by the Bipartisan Policy Center just last month, taking a look if they do take undocumented workers and give them some access to citizenship in this country, the demand for housing units increases as new immigrants enter the economy and form households, accelerating the current housing recovery and fueling growth in the sector of the economy. If we go ahead, according to the study, and do some sort of immigration reform, housing is going to be impacted by the sum of $68 billion a year. That's the projected annual increase in spending on residential construction. That's $68 billion. And last, and this is what I'm going to be talking about a lot, ladies and gentlemen, another pent-up demand for housing is in the Millennial Generation. I gave you a slide last month with the actual report from the Urban Land Institute. Here's a little bit better graphic of it. Right now, there's 121 million households in the United States. The Urban Land Institute, in their emerging trends in real estate for 2014, projected that growth over the next 3 years is going to be 3.7%. That's almost 4.5 million new households are going to be formed. People moving out of their parents' home. People getting married, having kids, and buying a house or renting an apartment. People getting out of college and getting a good job and forming their own household. On average, that's about 1.5 million a year. We have to make sure, ladies and gentlemen, those young adults have a choice to make. They either get involved in home ownership or they can rent. And we have to make sure that they're making well-educated, well-informed decisions. I'm not saying that every one of them should buy a house. Of course not. But any one of them that thinks they should buy a house, maybe now's the time. And we have to let them know why. As we've let you know in previous KCMs, homeowners' net worth is over 30 times greater than that of renters. Let's make sure we let the millennials know that. I'm not sure that they realize that. I'm not sure that they realize that the average net worth of an American family that's a homeowner is $174,000, while the average net worth of a renter is a little over $5,000. Let's make sure in our plan in 2014, because we're talking about growth, let's make sure it's part of our job to make sure that those millennials are making informed decisions when they're forming those households. Should I rent? Should I buy? Let's go over the pros and cons of both with every one of them. That's our responsibility.